Opposites attract. So
hey, we're getting real close here, doggy.
you hear what they say, right? About
Let's
opposites.
cut this
You
camera.
heard what they say about opposites, right?
They attract, and it's like, bro, I don't want to scissor you, bro. You know what they say. Okay, all right. All right, let's cut this sexual tension.
Yeah.
Welcome to Fresh Out. I'm Cood.
I'm JC.
And we are fresh out of Megalopolis.
Megalopolis.
Starring Adam Driver,
Aubrey Plaza.
Natalie Emanuel,
Ooh, Dustin Hoffman.
Shia LaBeouf,
John Voight.
Lawrence Fishburne,
Yes, Catherine Hunter.
Jason Schwartzman.
Ooh, we're missing one. What is one of the earlier ones?
I got it. If you don't have it, I got it.
You got it.
I got it. Giancarlo Esposito,
Yes,
baby!
that was the one I was missing. I knew I was
We
missing
skipped
somebody.
over him in the beginning.
Yeah, that's why.
He was a main character, definitely.
Oh, no, such a main character.
All right, so this is a very, I would say polarizing, but everybody thinks this movie sucks. So it's not polarizing at all.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks this movie sucks.
Yeah. I think the overall opinion is, right, you have Francis Ford Coppola, this iconic director, right? Godfather,
Yep.
Apocalypse Now.
Yep,
So
Apocalypse
everybody's
Now.
going to compare him to that standard. But
he's old,
creative.
though.
Yeah.
Dude, when was his last movie? We should have looked this up before, but I don't know when his last movie was before this one.
I think he's had some recent ones, but they haven't been noteworthy, right? And I think more like there's been some documentaries.
So that's what it is.
Something like
that's
that.
what it is.
But nothing major. More like maybe he's been producing some things. I don't know if he's.
You can
directed
never
something in
be
a while.
Michael Jordan like your whole career. Even Michael Jordan had a Wizards basketball team career where it was like, yo, you were the greatest. Just stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not saying that Francis Ford Coppola should have stopped with this one. Let's talk about how it looked.
Yes.
How was the
absolutely.
look of it, cinematography wise?
Oh my gosh.
What do you
Special
think of
effects,
this?
right?
What do you think of this movie? Because I've heard people on YouTube talking about how the special effects was very iffy at times. It was up and down, and I just feel like the people that talk about special effects, unless it's like a CGI alligator eating an airplane or something like that, CGI to me is kind of like, I can't judge it properly. You know what I mean? I can't be a super judge of it because like it looks cool. Whatever they're doing looks cool. Like people online, they'll say like, oh, it looks so fake, and I'm like, yeah, maybe if it was like everything was CGI, but it never felt like any scene of this movie was fully CGI.
I think that's a really good point.
They had to be in front of blue screen or green screen.
I think the difference between Francis Ford Coppola's version of CGI and maybe traditional CGI is that it's way more thoughtful, right? He is gonna make sure everything in this fantastical world looks as real as possible. He doesn't want anything to ever feel like CGI, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like you have, movies like, Godzilla or
Sharknado.
Things like that where obviously it's massive CGI. That's what they're banking on.
Well, you
right?
have to suspend your disbelief, right? And so this movie, visually,
Stunning.
oh boy.
Yeah.
Like, this is a movie that you may want to go after you eat things. Right? After you eat the right,
That's fair.
After you eat
That's
the right
fair.
substances, you might want to go see this movie. It might give you a broader idea of the concepts that are going on, but visually, you're going to be like, you're in it, dude. Visually,
Absolutely.
this movie was very visual. And I attribute these visuals to not substances, but I attribute it to a kind of Greek mythological type of feel. This movie it was a Greek myth or something.
Yeah, well, so essentially, if we just go based on the plot, right, it's a new Roman kind of...
Yeah, it's New
right?
Rome
It's
is
New
the name of
Rome.
the town. New Rome is the name of the
So
city.
we're thinking of
It's New York. It's New York,
Yeah,
but it's New Rome.
It's a futuristic Rome, which is kind of taking two polar opposites of this Roman Empire that people are obsessed about. We cannot deny that, right? People are constantly talking about it. I know, especially guys, right? If you ask them the question, like, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? Like,
All the time.
all the
dude.
time.
I wake up.
You don't think I think about that?
It's
Come on.
either the Confederacy or the Roman Empire, bro.
And then you take that and you go, let's make it futuristic. Let's introduce these crazy concepts of...
They had Colosseum in there.
Yeah.
And,
they totally...
Yeah, dude. And so from the beginning, though, so even with the imagery spot on, 10 out of 10. Imagery spot on.
Yep.
This is a great, visually stunning movie. If you want to watch a movie that every single scene, you're just like, there's a lot going on here.
You're captivated.
There's a lot going on here. But aside from that, like with the Greek mythology type of feel of everything, it just gave it this deeper purpose of like the visuals that were going on.
Yes.
So the characters, you start thinking a little deeper about them. You're just like, okay, so who is this guy? Like the dialogue was kind of like Shakespearean Greek mythological.
Very
so it's just kind of like the whole package of this movie is like watching, and it says it in the beginning on the little tablet thing that it does periodically through the movie. It says a fable.
Yes,
It says a fable.
From the beginning to end, it does.
In the very beginning.
Yep.
And so with that, I loved it visually, man.
I
loved the package of it.
I think we could say Adam Driver is the architect, like in this scenario. Of this
He's the
film,
new architect.
new architect.
So Adam Driver to me is the future.
Yes.
Giancarlo Esposito's character, who's the mayor of Megalopolis, is the mayor. So he's stuck in his ways of like, this is how we get things done.
Bureaucratic, right? He's like, I have to be able to appease everybody.
Yep.
And
he cares. He
does care.
Giancarlo Esposito's character, even though he was the mayor of whatever New York or whatever it was before Megalopolis, he cares about. He says, how are the normal people going to keep their lights on?
Yes.
How are they going to keep their heat? How are they going to eat? You know, he cares, dude.
I think that's actually a big part of what makes like a very compelling argument between like we want to explore this future, which could be this forever, right? As I think that's what they refer to.
Yep.
Like, why live in the now when you're going to live in the forever, right? This is temporary. This could be something that's like game changing, but at what risk, right?
Yep.
And I think that is what...
Spot on, dude.
Right? I think that's
spot on.
What the whole
That's
film
the conflict.
Is. Yeah.
The conflict is between the new idea of what humans should be and what they should strive for and how they should live and how they should interact and how they should be, right? But then you have this old thinking of this is how we get stuff done.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so it's they're fighting each other, right? Mm-hmm. And so with Adam Driver's character of the ideological guy who's like for the future, right? Great concepts.
Yeah.
That would be a great way to live, but how do we get to
how
that?
Do we actually
we can't just skip ahead.
Exactly.
Right?
You can't just go...
Because only rich people in the upper class are going to live what Adam Driver's character... Yes.
Yeah.
That was... So this is where this movie is divisive, I think. Mm-hmm. Because I have been on Reddit and I have seen a couple of posts of, yo, this movie may be a masterpiece. Okay. Right? I've seen a couple of those posts.
All right.
From those abstract individuals on Reddit who, you know, they love to stay anonymous because you don't want to be shot down and crucified for saying that this movie is a masterpiece, right?
Yep.
But there are a lot of concepts in this movie about, you know, powerful, money, just like all the concepts of society that we have now that are put in such an artistic way that it's pretentious. And if you're tired of looking at the flash of pretentious artsiness, it actually does make a good point with this movie. It makes a really good point. Once you get past because how they talk in the movie is straight up Shakespearean.
Oh,
like
and I think
they do it with an American accent, but it's definitely like it was written by Shakespeare.
You can tell, like, throughout the dialogue, right? They have kind of this grounded, like, normal dialogue, but then they will sprinkle in, I would say primarily Adam Driver's character will be that Shakespearean voice where he'll actually quote Shakespeare throughout a couple of times. Just to kind of show, like, how he is viewing the world and trying to articulate his ideas to everybody else. And, right, it's something where it kind of takes you back to it's like the new and the old. Like somehow it's like innately
either you're gonna like it or you're not gonna like it.
Yeah, and I think
it's a polarizing thing, definitely.
So I think let's keep going.
Because the dialogue, like let's say, like if I was going in with it with an attitude of like this isn't Shakespearean, this isn't like a stage play that's being played out in front of me, right? Then I would definitely take this dialogue as just being crappy.
So I think that's
it's definitely like, yo,
I think the tough thing
this sucks.
I think the tough thing about this film is it's really tough to like fully comprehend because it starts to take you down one route and then you're taking here and then there and then here and then there and it's like there's concepts open. There's
it's so artistic.
And then but also it'll just be like here's the party scene. Like let's just party. And then it'll be like here's this very deep emotional moment.
But
and then it's like back
even
to like here.
Even within those scenes of the party scene and stuff, I feel like this whole movie is Francis Ford Coppola trying to make a point.
Yeah, oh no, for
this
sure
whole
it is.
movie is about Francis Ford Coppola trying to make a point about what he thinks about society. And this is an old dude. This is an old white guy who's been rich his whole life, right? So what point can we take from him? But I feel like he made some very valid statements about our society and how we live and like the ideology that we could one day strive to, but it's held back because we are humans and because we have been stuck in this system. Growing up, and that's all we know is this system of what works. This works, right? So this guy who's coming in here with these newfangled ideas, oh yeah, maybe for the future or maybe for rich people, but why can't that be for everybody? Right?
Exactly.
And so with this movie, Francis Ford Coppola is making a statement, be it if you get it or not, or if you do get it and you think it's a sloppy version of what he's trying to say, or if you think it's clumsy or whatever it is, he is making a statement with this movie. This is Francis Ford Coppola's last statement because the dude got to be like 90.
And I think the tough thing is that, right, when you have this film that's just so, you can tell it's deep. You can tell it's you can tell it's from he's passionate. It's from his heart.
Because he funded it.
He funded himself.
He fully funded it.
Million,
and I understand why he couldn't find a studio for this.
Absolutely. After watching this, you can definitely tell.
Dude.
And like Lionsgate picked it up later. But, right, you could tell, I at first I'm like, how could you not fund a Francis Ford Coppola film? And now I can see. It was so abstract and so...
super abstract,
like,
dude.
the messages behind it, there are so many that it's probably so deep, you could just totally...
It's a convoluted...
Yes, absolutely.
It's a convoluted idea.
So as far as a wide release, something that you can show to the public and it'd be easily digestible, and, like, I know that's not what we want from Francis Ford Coppola, right? So like for him, he was like, I'm not going to veer. I'm doing what I want to do. This is my vision. And either you're gonna give me distribution at theaters or not.
Like Shia LaBeouf. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
So like Shia LaBeouf's character, he can't act like that in any other movie. Like, you know what I mean? If it wasn't Megalopolis, like that character would be silly and stupid. And it'd be laughable, right?
Yeah.
But Shia LaBeouf's character in this movie worked because it's kind of like Shakespearean.
Yes.
He kind of reminded me of, in the beginning, and I'm a Shakespeare kind of guy, right? And so Romeo's best friend is Mercutio, who's like the laughing, joking guy, right, of the group. And Mercutio has a bad downfall after that, whatever. And so... Shia LaBeouf's character in the beginning to me was like Mercutio, just very like free-loving
very passive,
and very just I'm a comedian and I'm the comic relief, like, let's have fun.
Yeah.
But then Shia LaBeouf's character, like, kind of developed over the time where it was like, he's from the free-loving playboy of the town into, now I want to get
now he's like,
political.
wow, maybe I can actually have a chance at this. Yeah.
Now I want to start running the city,
So
which is kind of societal.
Let's talk about the acting a little bit. I think this is a good transition because Shia LaBeouf, great job, right? You could see that character arc.
Yeah.
Adam Driver.
Everybody did a great job in this.
I think
to
as
me.
far as the acting, wow. Like I think across the
everybody
board,
did a great job with what was given and how it was written.
Exactly.
Because these lines,
key point.
these lines. Okay, so what I had to continually tell not continually. I accepted that once it said a fable and it was like written in Greek and Roman or whatever, and I saw that, okay, this is modeling itself after a stage play that is written for commoners to watch in a amphitheater in Rome in 1500s or whatever, whenever Rome was its thing, right?
Yeah.
This is what this is.
Yeah.
This is what this is, dude. To me personally, once I put myself in those shoes of like, the dialogue just hit for me. The dialogue hit for me. I was just like, yo, this is kind of twiddling my like little artistic little bone here. I got a small artistic bone, and it was twiddling it the whole time.
So I think you see this Shakespearean influence, right? And definitely the written word. You can hear you'll hear these references to Shakespeare.
Oh yeah.
But also there's a modern feel because it's supposed to be a futuristic Rome.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we said before, polar opposites.
It's like Shakespeare with an American accent.
Absolutely.
That's kind of like what this
Modern
dialogue is
Shakespeare.
written as. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's grounded in something that we're all comfortable with now, but feels like something we've never experienced because it's from before our time.
Yeah. Because so it's not very, so when you're watching a stage play, everything's a little bit more exaggerated.
Yes.
The lines are a little bit sillier or a little bit more like, nobody would say this in real life.
High for like how you're reacting?
Yeah, nobody would say these like this in real life.
Like
you know what I mean?
If you felt this way, you wouldn't articulate it like that.
It's that disconnect that you have to make as an audience member. And see, it's not your job to disconnect though. So this movie, since we're going from the acting, this movie asks a lot from the viewer.
Yes,
it asks
it
the
does.
viewer to be accepting of the different concepts that are going on in the movie that may not be the best developed or actually like done.
Or
you know what I mean?
Easily digestible, I
Yeah,
would say.
you know what I mean? Like, these concepts are a little bit deeper of like, you have to be outside yourself and think about like, the whole time I was watching this movie I was thinking from Francis Ford Coppola's point of view of like, why would I put this in the movie? Why would I put this scene in the movie? What point am I trying to make? This movie is his last point, right? And so, not to say that he won't release something before he dies, but he's pretty old. This is his last point of like what he thinks of society, what society could be in the future. And it's exaggerated, just like the acting. The acting is exaggerated. His concepts are exaggerated. It's an exaggerated movie.
And I think really like the best way, the lens to look through it, to kind of, like what Cood pointed about, kind of touched on, was he's looking through it of the lens of Francis Ford Coppola. And I think if you're just looking
an
at
artist,
right? A filmmaker, a renowned, acclaimed filmmaker, and you're looking through it through his lens, it kind of gives you a different perspective to say, he's intentional with everything he does. So this is for a reason. So while I'm watching this, what is the reason?
Exactly.
But if you're just a passive audience member who's just looking for a movie that like Megalopolis, let me just check this out. maybe
Adam Driver.
Yeah, and you're like
the girl from Game of Thrones.
And the girl from Game of Thrones.
Aubrey Plaza. Yeah,
you see this cast and you're like, why not?
It's a super stacked cast.
It's a film movie.
The stackedest cast I've seen in the last
definitely
30
stacked.
years, dude. This cast is so stacked.
Well, I think
with heavy hitters, dude.
I think it's because
generationally too.
Like, you got John Voight and you have Aubrey Plaza, which are on total ends
stacked,
of like.
Dude.
Like
Dustin Hoffman,
like Gen Z, maybe they'll know Aubrey Plaza.
Giancarlo's so popular
and
though. Like he's just the most popular
Breaking
guy.
Bad. He's
Breaking
Gus.
Bad.
You can't forget Gus.
Mandalorian.
Yep.
Like he's
the
the guy. He's the guy.
He's done some stuff. Yeah.
He's the guy.
So when you look at it through that lens,
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf. You can appreciate it as a film lover, and maybe if you're a filmmaker,
or hate it. Because
or,
it's so stacked and the acting is so bad and so exaggerated and the dialogue is so bad and so exaggerated.
So Shakespearean.
So it's,
to your point.
This movie is a conundrum, dude.
Yeah. So
this movie is a conundrum,
I think,
dude.
you know what? I think this is about that time. Let's just get into it. Let's give it a rating.
We'll get into the ratings,
Yeah,
dude.
I think we've talked enough about it, and you know,
we thought about it a little bit.
Whenever we're doing our reviews, we are not going to be biased by what everybody else says, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna go into it.
It's kind of hard not to.
It's tough
in this situation,
it's tough, right?
Because but yeah, it's hard.
And we're gonna see some people's points. We're not gonna ignore them.
Yeah.
Maybe they will influence us in that it gives us a different perspective of thinking.
I was not influenced at all.
Yeah, exactly. It's
in my judgment of this movie, I was not influenced at all.
That's what I'm.
I was influenced by what I saw and how it was handled, and I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
What do you think? Do you want to kick
you
us
go
off
first?
This time? You want me to do it? All right.
You go first.
So for me, I always break it down, right? So let's do this. Let's say visually stunning, 9, maybe even 10.
Yeah, it was
I
good.
Never
Visually,
felt like throughout the film that I was bored, which is with any film, with any new films in a theater. That's going to happen at some point.
And the storyline was so disjointed where it's like to still be entertained and the storyline isn't like the best.
That's a really
written
good point.
thing, like visually. Yeah,
I think that speaks volumes about how visually, like, just he had a vision and it was executed.
It was an artistic vision.
Very artistic.
Yeah.
Because to Coot's point, the story very disjointed. Concept, like there was a lot of plot points that were introduced that weren't really explored later, and then some weren't, but you're like, I don't even really remember this point, and I forgot about this point, and you're constantly trying to remember, but yet you're still being introduced to all these new concepts. So abstract. It's very abstract. It's a lot to follow, and
it's artistic, dude.
It's so artistic that right. It's like a Picasso painting. You're like, do I really understand this?
I don't like this painting.
I like this overall, but I don't really know what's going on.
Picasso kind of sucks. Like you kind of want to say that, but you don't.
So it's like there are so many scenes that cater to kind of wider audiences that are like maybe they don't know Francis Ford Coppola as much, and it's like we just want to show those party scenes.
He was a very standard type
scenes.
of like he was a groundbreaking, I guess, director, but like
no, I mean
if
he
you
absolutely was iconic.
Yeah, if you watch Godfathers and Apocalypse Now or whatever, they're very kind of basic structured movies. I feel like this is probably the most step out of that.
I think that's a really good point in that like you wouldn't expect him to have this abstract of a film because it was very
abstract, dude. Super artistic.
I think his other films were very story driven, whereas this one maybe was story driven, but the story was so disjointed that it was hard to follow. Yeah. So that was complemented by just a stunning like visual
so what do you give it? What do you
kaleidoscope.
What do you give it?
I don't even know. So all that said, and also actors did great for what they were given. So I will say, I was teetering in my head. I was teetering between a 5 and a 6, and by the end, I landed on a 6.
A 6.
I landed on a 6 because
So a 6 is okay.
A 6 is okay.
A 7 is good.
A 7 is good.
7
6 is okay.
Yeah, 6 is.
That's all right. Yeah.
It's not mid.
I would say a low 6.
Oh, a low.
I'll be honest.
Into mid.
I'll be honest. It was a low
mid.
6 for me. What really got it above
Mid.
was just the visual, the aesthetics, and the intention. So
I will definitely be buying this movie once it's on sale when it comes out. I'm gonna buy it for $10, and we're gonna have a fun little night. Me and JC.
Yes.
Me and GC.
Yeah.
Me and Jesus.
Me and Cood, we're definitely gonna.
Whenever I say JC, I'm always thinking like Jesus
Yes,
Christ.
Jesus Christ.
That's what I was about to say. Like me and Jesus. Me and JC.
So that's another thing, watchability, but we'll have to keep
Yeah.
going.
Okay. So, on scoring this movie. Oh man, this is a tough one because it's so artistically pretentious, and then how everything's said, and how the storyline is written, and how everything is just done is just so why is this so? It's like for rich people to watch. It's like if a rich person wants to go watch a movie that's just glamorous and very just ostentatious and super exuberant and all. Oh man. So with that whole thinking, I'm gonna have to give this movie a 9 out of 10. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. I am giving it a 9 out of 10. You know why? I'm giving this movie a 9 out of 10 because I got every single concept that he was trying to do. I got the acting wise, I understood why everything, even if I laughed at certain points that were supposed to be serious. That is what Shakespearean acting is. That's what old school stage play, this is a Roman fable, mythology written. This is what it is. It's the human condition. You have Adam Driver, he's the future, going against Giancarlo Esposito. He's the past, but that works, that we're used to. It's a conflict of that. You throw in Aubrey Plaza's clout chasing. You throw in Shia LaBeouf as the political, I'm rich, but I came from nothing guy who may be relatable to other figures that we have going on right now. I got every single concept that Francis Ford Coppola was going for. I enjoyed every single second of this movie. I enjoyed visually. I enjoyed soundtrack-wise. It was great. Acting-wise, it was spot on for what was supposed to be portrayed in his idea. And I respect that as a director, he went in and said, hey, I have this original idea. No studio wants to buy this. I'm going to fund the whole thing.
I love that.
Hundreds of millions of dollars, whatever. I'm going to fund it.
Wow.
I respect this movie, and I think it's better than great, because 8 is great. 9.
No, 9's phenomenal.
9 is phenomenal. 9 is almost a classic.
Okay.
This movie will be in my collection. This movie, I loved every single second of this movie. I loved every single second of dialogue. I loved every concept that he was going. I loved the overacting. I loved the terrible lines. I loved everything about this movie, and this is definitely going in my collection. I give it a 9 out of 10. And I did not want to tell you what I thought about this movie.
I was trying to pull it out.
I was downplaying this guy since we left the theaters. Because I was like, yo, I don't want to tell this fool that I actually loved this movie. This movie is my type of movie. And I'm not an artistic guy, but this movie tickled my little thing the whole time.
That's so great.
It tinkled
I'm very happy.
It tingled my artistic tank the whole time, bruh. Like straight up the whole movie. I was like, yo, I love this. This is my type of, if you're going to go abstract, and if you're going to go artistic, and if you're going to try to make a point, then make a goddamn point. And make it this type of movie. I don't care if 30% of people, I don't care if this is that low on the Rotten Tomatoes. I don't care about none of that.
No.
Right? I watched a couple of the beginning of reviews of YouTubers that I like, right? And I stopped it after they said, like, I don't like this movie, right? And then I went into this thing blind. I didn't know what the storyline was. I didn't know what. The only thing I've ever seen of this movie was the teaser of Adam Driver stepping off of the skyscraper. That's it, right? And for me to go into this and just fully accept that I'm an ancient Roman commoner, peasant, that's watching a Roman stage play, right? This movie is great.
Wow.
And it goes, I will definitely be watching this movie at least once a year. And that's a big thing because I have a lot of movies. I own a lot of movies. I will be watching this. This is along the same lines as Green Knight to me.
Okay.
With Dev Patel.
I could definitely see that.
That movie was slow and arduous and just whatever. People, a lot of people didn't like it,
the
whatever.
Message where it's really hard to interpret.
Yeah, it's a weird concept, whatever.
No.
I put it in the same ranks as that. I give Green Knight a 9.
I can absolutely
and
see
this
that.
movie gets a 9, dude. Not even just visually, but concept-wise. I totally got it from the beginning.
Let's go.
From the beginning, this is a great execution of style and substance. I like the idea that Adam Driver was the future. And how can we give this future to everybody is Giancarlo Esposito's character. He's like, we can't give this future that you're thinking too fast.
Yeah.
Right? And so he's trying to make it, digestible for our society and how it's set up. But it shows how messed up our society is that we can't digest an idea that Adam Driver's character has.
Yeah.
It shows us how Stone Age we are still stuck in the past where we go with these systems that work, but then we have a genius come around. I hated his name, Caesar Catalina.
I think
terrible name.
No.
Terrible name.
It was not a great name.
I hated his name.
But Caesar.
But his character, oh man, I fell in love with.
Oh no.
He's
Adam
a flawed
Driver,
dude. He's a flawed character, but he's a genius.
I think that's the best part about Adam
He's
Driver.
a genius and he's flawed.
He's flawed.
The future is genius, but the future has flaws.
He's like, this is the utopia that I think we can
This is what it is.
But I'm still human too.
That's what it is,
right?
dude.
And he owned that.
This movie is great with these ideas.
Yeah.
Future idealism versus status quo. It's status quo versus what the humans could actually be, right? And I got that from the beginning. This movie's a 9 out of 10. This is good.
Wow.
I recommend this movie.
That's
recommend this movie. I highly recommend this movie.
I'm actually
dude.
really happy because I wasn't sure he was being very cryptic before I tried to pull
I was being super cryptic.
And I thought he was going to go lower.
Yes.
But he went higher, which I
9
love.
out of 10
I will never
movie.
be upset if you're going higher because you know what? Francis Ford Coppola took a big swing.
Dude, he did.
And it's not for everybody, but
it's not for everybody.
Film lovers, you're gonna love it.
I kind of like the dude.
Even me giving it a 6, I'm still saying I liked it.
So a lot of the things. So what it is about the 6 that you're giving, I totally understand that. Though.
Yeah.
This is the type of movie where I understand, and it's not a pretentiousness thing. It's not you just didn't get the concept. He got all the concepts.
Oh, no.
It just was not presented in a way that he totally was on board with. It wasn't. It wasn't. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of things that go with presenting your idea, right?
Exactly.
And so this movie is gonna be where some people watch this movie and love how it's delivered.
Yeah.
And some people are gonna watch this movie and think that it's meh how it's delivered.
Yep.
And some people, most people, as we've seen, are gonna hate how it's delivered.
I know, and I
right?
don't get that. Yeah.
They're gonna hate how it's delivered. But I totally get all of those different spectrums of what you think because it's not an ideology thing because you get it. As a human, when you're watching this movie, you get it. But do you accept how it's delivered?
Yes. And
that's the thing.
Also, I think base level, we're watching movies and we want to emphasize in theaters, right?
Yep.
You go to a theater to watch a movie. Are you entertained? Do you feel like you wasted your money? Do you feel like you lost time?
Now, if I paid $20 to see this,
I would still be okay with that.
I'd
honestly.
still give it a 9 out of 10, dude. If I paid $20 to see this, I'd still give it a 9 out of 10.
I wish we could have saw it in a bigger format. We just got
dude, IMAX, dude, right?
IMAX 3D. Give me that.
South Bay Galleria. That's the only one that they had. Dude.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But so right, like if we're thinking about watchability, watching in theaters, feeling like I had an
But
experience.
see, I could not recommend this movie to people though. Even though I give it a 9 out of 10, it's just like The Green Knight.
I think what I would do is I would recommend watching this movie with a friend. So take them with you. And then if they're having hesitation.
Because I was joking. Throughout the movie, I was joking and saying things to JC, right?
Yep.
But the thing about this type of movie is when you put yourself into the seat of a person watching this as a stage play in ancient Rome, right? Mm-hmm. All the characters are written that way. The storyline is that way. Like, it's that, right? To show you the differences of... This was the beginning of, like, social commentary, right? Greeks and stuff like that with their writings. They had a bunch of social commentary and stuff. This is a social commentary movie written in the Greek format, ancient Rome, ancient Greek format of a myth with exaggerated characters, and I loved it, dude. I loved it. I actually really like this movie a lot. I can't wait to buy it again when it's out streaming very soon because it's not making no money in the box office, so it's going to be out in 2 weeks. I can't wait to buy this movie and watch it again in the right frame of mind because it's good, dude. I liked it. I love
that you loved it, man.
Yeah, dude. It's a 9 out of 10 from me, man. That's
All right.
the first 9 out of 10.
So what is that?
Channel.
So we split the difference. So
Hell
6,
no, we're not
9,
splitting the difference.
No,
You're going 6.
7.5. No, I'm just kidding.
You're going
No.
6. I'm going 9.
That's fair.
6 and a 9.
6 and a 9.
So like 69, baby.
There we go.
That's how we do it. So that was our thoughts about Megalopolis, which may be a megaflopolis after this weekend because this was like opening weekend.
Yeah.
So next week we're gonna see.
That was a few weeks ago.
But you know, it was a few weeks ago.
I think it came out like 2 weeks ago. Not that.
Oh, because there was nobody in our theater, dude.
Yeah.
There was literally nobody.
Yeah,
there was like 6 people
5
in our
tops,
theater.
maybe,
Yeah.
Including us.
Yeah, exactly. So we were 2 of those.
Yeah. Yeah, 5 or 6.
Yeah, so this movie's going to be out streaming very soon. I definitely recommend it, especially in the right frame of mind. Wink, wink.
Absolutely.
Follow the White Rabbit when you watch this movie.
Man.
And I think you will enjoy it and you will accept it for the ideas that it has because it is very pretentiously... It's aggressively artistic.
Yeah.
It's aggressively artistic.
Artistic. I like that.
This is an aggressively artistic movie, dude.
That's
so either you're gonna like that aggression or you're not. It's aggressively artistic.
Either way, you're gonna experience it.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be an experience.
We experienced it. This was Fresh Out. I'm Kood.
I'm JC.
And
thanks for
watch
tuning
it. Yeah,
watch
dude.
it.
Watch it. That's the new ending.
Yeah, and go watch it.
You better watch it, dude.
You should
Adam
watch
Driver, dude.
Adam Pile Driver.
Adam the Pile Driver.